All right, so anyway, what's up, y'all? Filipina P is this video is going to be talking about. She talks a lot about um, me, believe it or not, and other miscellaneous things, or whatever the case. Needing information or asking for information or whatever the case. Um, it might seem like it's not, but it is. And I guess I need to put two and two together for her or whatever the case. Like, she probably knows some of this information, but it's good to hear from me too, so that you can get two sides of a story, so that you can have a perfect balance of assessment, so that when she make the rest of the videos, it would be more of a balance. When I first was on my way to the Philippines, that's what you need to know, the very beginning. Stuff that other people in the Philippines don't know, like what led up to me wanting to even go to the Philippines and even planning to go to the Philippines before I even got there, for there to be something to talk about. Um, I told people I was already in the Torah. I was learning the ways of the Most High, and I was in part of not really part of an organization, but one of the Rabim was a Levite priest, and I used to listen to him teach and stuff like that. And he had a school, and the school was too much money for me to be able to pay for. And so what happened was he gave me a suggestion that if I went to the Philippines or whatever the case, he said he had a school out there, whatever the case, a rabbi that can teach, or whatever the case. So I said, okay, well, if I can make it to the Philippines, could I take the school out there for free? And he said, yeah, you can take the school out there for free, but you would have to take care of yourself, like your basic necessities and stuff like that. But you can take the school and take the courses or study under me or whatever the case for free. You don't have to pay the money. So I did that. And so by permission of the head of the organization of African Israel, it's called Forever Israel now, but it was called African Israel. And so by permission of the rabbi in charge of the whole organization, like the one in charge of all of the places, he got a place in Africa, he got a place in America, he got a place in different places, China here and there. You got different places where rabbis are, and they do the teaching and stuff like that on the Torah and stuff, as you call the Bible. So I talked to the rabbi that was in the Philippines, Roberto Fortu, and I gave him the rundown about what I was trying to do, this, that, and the third, and why I was even trying to come to the Philippines, and the school and the money, and I don't have the money for all of that or whatever, but I do have the money to come there, and this and that, and I'm on disability, and this was what I'm working with. And I talked to him, gave him the rundown. I said, look, I can do this or do that, I can schedule a flight, bop, bop, bop. He was not out of the loop at any point or whatever. He knew exactly in detail, fully, what I was coming to the Philippines for, and it wasn't nothing except the schooling, or else I would have stayed in America, So I went there. When I went there, I went to the hotel, and he said he was going to come meet me at the hotel. That's how I ended up even meeting him. I emailed him before I came, and then I emailed him after I arrived and told him I was there. He emailed me back. I'm here. I'm in Pacific City. I'm staying at a family's house. I'll be there tomorrow or whatever. So he came the next day. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up knocking on the door, knock, knock, knock. And I opened the door. He's like, hey, what's up, what's up? So the first thing we did was talk a little bit. Then we prayed. He used the bathroom. We slept. And then the very next day in the morning, we prayed. And he was like, you can save some of your money and we can leave, because I had 5 days stay in 2 hotel in Pacific City. So I thought that he was in Manila, because he told me something different than what actually was, but I get it now. But at the time I was not understanding, so I thought something was something different than what it was. So he was like, yeah, we can go to my island or whatever the case. And so he probably thought it was better for me, and so I just followed him. I didn't really question anything too much. So we ended up getting on a bus. We ended up going out Batangas Port. From Batangas Port, we got on the Montenegro. The Montenegro is where I shot the video of me on the ship talking about going to an isle called Romblon. So it's on my YouTube, and that's how that happened. And then from that, I stayed at his house for a few days, and then he kind of like helped me out here and there about getting an apartment, this, that, and the third. So pretty much I was not understanding how he wanted me to work things out, but I just was going with the flow a little bit. But being under his care, I kind of like expected step by step guidance as far as like where stuff was and how to do things. And even we talked about basics of the language, like how to speak the language in a basic sense, because in America they don't teach Tagalog. It's not like in schools. You can't really take a course in college or in high school or something like that to learn Tagalog, so that you can, if you wanted to go to the Philippines, you can already be ready knowing the language or somebody to dialogue with. It's none of that here. They have different languages that you learn that are powerful countries or whatever, or they consider powerful countries. But anyway, so I'm there only speaking English and this and that and the third, and then I get an apartment. I'm around all of the students of Romblon University. So it's like a dormitory area where the students of Romblon University are. And I didn't know they were students at first. I thought they was like kids and stuff. Like, I didn't know. But they were students of Romblon. So you'll see them hanging out, cooking and doing stuff, washing clothes. And then I started acquainting myself with them. They was practicing English on me and stuff like that, using me to practice English and stuff like that. And I'm like, I need to learn Tagalog though. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yeah, I'm sad. And they knew what I was there for. It was real friendly and everything was beautiful, because when I first came, you know what I'm saying, I was by myself. Everybody could know me for me. They can see me for who I was, and it was nothing that they can, feel some kind of way about me about. It was nothing. It was just me. One of the girls, she always would mess with me or whatever. She always, Kuya this, Kuya that. I didn't know what Kuya meant, but she was like, wait, something, sir. She would say, when you coming back? I'm like, what you mean when I'm coming back? I didn't even leave yet. Like, but when you coming back? I said, all right, I'll be right back. I'm coming back. But I guess she was saying that for the future, like when you leave, are you ever coming back? When you coming back? But she would always be there washing clothes, or she'd be there cooking or with the brothers. You know what I'm saying? And she was the one that looked more boyish. She always had a girlfriend or something like that. But I always hung out at Rabbi Bert's barbershop, Fitz barbershop. I would hang out at his barbershop at first and just be chilling, listening to music or talking about Torah, this, that, and the third, or whatever the case, and just seeing how things was day to day and what kind of things he did daily, and like how the things work with the schooling and this, that, and the third. And he kind of was like real busy. And I noticed that he was way too busy to really like run the school, really. So I was like, okay, so things different. So he really needed my help. And so I went through the small little test about how much I knew and my character and this, that, and the third. So I helped him out eventually. So he had a lot of responsibility that he needed help with. That's all it really was. And so even to the money, but I didn't know how to cut hair, or I would have helped him cut hair. And it was just so much going on or whatever. Maybe he didn't want to tell me straight out, what it was that he really needed help with, or else I would have been like, nah, it's okay, I'm not going to come. So he ran it all down to me in detail when I was there and saw it up front. And, but I didn't, complain or really nothing like that, aside from like, just like next time, just put everything on the table, let me know, because believe it or not, you'd be surprised what kind of people will still be there for you and be by your side and ride with you, even though you got a lot of things going on with you and stuff like that you don't want to say or that you want to hide or whatever. So we always would talk like that, not really contend with one another, but just kind of like that, like, Robert, bro, how would you, what I'm saying, if you would have told me, I would have da-da-da-da. He was always fearful of people mistreating him or I guess he had a lot of, that's the word, being mistreated a lot or whatever by people. And so because of that, he probably thought I was the same way because I was from America. He thought I was Americanized and stuff like that, but he didn't know the history of me, why I really came, aside from the school and stuff like that. Whereas though it was another reason why I came, because I wanted to really look for help and understand things about what was going on and stuff that was going on, like a lot of different people in the country. Like in my hood, it's a lot of Asians there, a lot of Chinese people. I wanted to know, just like he wanted to know, like why Bruce Lee died and this, that, and the third. And I wanted to know why a lot of Asians are in our hoods and stuff like that and getting rich off of us. And we just wanted to know what was going on. And so I told him, I didn't tell him I was a Native Indian, so he never knew. He just thought I was a black guy or whatever the case. If I told him I was a Native Indian, he would have known that was my land. America's my land. And so I didn't tell him. I just kind of was going with it. And seeing how he was. And then, of course, he introducing me to the Peace Corps, a lot of other different people from America. He's telling Rabbi Bert that he's from America, he's from Mexico. And I was like, what, New Mexico? I was like, but still, it don't really matter. He said he's from Mexico. He was born in Mexico, so he was born in America. I said, well, the way they teach it to us, I had to break it down to him, like the differences of how they teach and stuff like that. He didn't understand because he's not in America or from America, so he don't understand how they teach people. So look, I had to break it down. So I said, they teach lies to people. Some people, they teach the truth. Some people, they teach half-truth. Some people, they teach complete lies. You know what I'm saying? I said, if you're in America and you're taught that New Mexico is a part of the United States. You're taught that Mexico is Mexico. It's another country. You know what I'm saying? But if you know history, you know that North and South Americas is still Americas, and you can get away with saying I was born in America. But as far as legality, if you was in America and try to do something legal or documents or paperwork, you would not be able to put Mexico as a part of America or something like that. And so he wasn't understanding. Because the guy from the Peace Corps was twisting him up. Because Rabbi Bert was that type of person. But, real clever and crafty. But, got the car. He was real clever and crafty, but he wasn't understanding fully what was going on. And I was trying to help him understand what was going on, who was going on. So he kind of didn't trust me. So he was between two decisions, between two people, like trying to figure out who to trust. And that kind of was what started him being skeptical of me, because somebody said something about me that they didn't know about me, and they just got in his head. And so I'm going to back. And by them getting in his head, he started looking at me different than how he was when he first met me or whatever. Probably people talking about me and stuff like that and not knowing me or whatever the case. They probably scared. He didn't understand. So I'm still trying to help him out, still trying to let him know that I'm genuinely there to learn from, in school and stuff like that. But he's still thinking in the back of his mind, you got the Peace Corps here in this land, he's like on edge, thinking somebody trying to take something from him, which some people are, but I wasn't. He didn't understand that, and till this day, he still probably don't know that. He's just thinking like, what you come here for? And I'm like, I told you what I came here for. So it was kind of like that thing, trying to protect his people, not knowing who to trust, real on edge, so it was kind of like that. But I ended up coming there. He ended up having me, giving me a responsibility to take care of a certain family called the Pea family or whatever the case, to teach them, to keep them up and protect them spiritually and stuff like that. Because you don't really, in the island, in the Philippines, I realized you don't need money. Money is just like something for luxury, like a phone or iPhone or some crap, or Galaxy, Android phone, something luxury that you might want, you would need money for. But as far as basic necessities of life, you don't need money for. You can go into the forest and stuff like that and build your house, you know what I'm saying, out of just wood and bamboo and leaves and all that stuff. And you can get bamboo floors, wood out of the forest for the you know what I'm saying, just build your house like a tree house or whatever the case, but sophisticated. You might can get a metal strip on an arm or something like that, whatever. You can build it out of cement if you got a little bit of money or somebody. You can they got farms. You got biggest fields, which is rice that's uncooked rice that's just grown in the field, that's all in the field, and make money off that. Or you can make money off coconut. You can get the coconut out of the tree and cook the coconut and sell the coconut, bag it up, sell it. You can chop wood down and sell wood or whatever somebody might need for building. You can be one of the people to get the equipment for it, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case. And on that land, like, we need this, and your land has this, and we'll pay you X amount of dollars for this, to get the production of this started or whatever. We need the parts, like telling people to go in the cave and get metal so that we can make weapons or something, and you would pay those people because it's their land. But some people were so disrespectful, like Americans and stuff. They will come into your land and see something productive, or see, trying to say resources and stuff like that, and they will try to take your land or try to give you an offer that's so big that you give your land up, and then they can, mass produce from whatever it is they looking for on your land, and they do that all the time, But in the Philippines, that's what Rabbi Bert was, I guess, scared of, because you had gold mines and stuff like that too there. and people was coming to Rumblon specifically to get gold because there was a lot of gold in Rumblon. But I didn't know that until at the end, that there was a lot of gold there. And I'm like, okay, what that got to do with me? I don't care about the gold. I'm not here for the gold. That's why I never talked about gold, never asked about gold. I wasn't looking for gold. I'm not creeping around and none of that. I'm just only around you trying to learn the Torah, the ways of the Most High, and then go back to America. But the only reason I didn't go back to America is because he gave me a girl that caused the problem of now everybody's looking at me a certain kind of funny way or a distrustful way. Whereas though he already was skeptical about me, but nobody else was. So they saw me for who I was. You know what I'm saying? And him in his old age, I guess his mind was messed up somewhat. So he wanted people to feel some kind of way or have something to look at me negatively about. So he gave me a girl that really didn't want to be with me, but I told her I didn't want to be with her from the very beginning. And her father and her mother was like egging it on, be with him, but her father was an ex-police officer. So in his mind too, he was like that. Like it gotta be something about him. But when I was around him all the time, he was noticing it was nothing about me. Because what happened was I started hanging out with the police. I would go to the police station and just hang out. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, ain't nothing wrong with this guy. Because when I ended up losing all my money, I couldn't really do anything but be a part of the land and part of what everybody was doing on the land, like magista, like going fishing, you know what I'm saying, or climbing buko trees, getting buko, or getting the manga, you know what I'm saying. But I was focused more on the children. Like if the children were hungry, I was always getting up, even though sometimes I didn't eat and I was like, I didn't have energy some of the times or whatever to move or whatever. So we all had to, you know, be regulated on how we ate and stuff. So I was still in my low energy, climb the tree and get manga, even though it was not ripe yet, get it for the children so that they can eat, so that they wouldn't be like, you know, sometimes it wouldn't be enough food, so you would have to go a whole day without eating. You would eat like the next day or at night, or whatever the case, so that the children can eat or whatever, you know, stuff like that. And that's how it was. Like Carlos, Giancarlo, he's the number one guy. You know what I'm saying? You might look at Giancarlo, he's a Filipino, but you'll look at Giancarlo on face value and see his silky smooth hair and think that he's a pretty boy or something, or whatever the case. You'll mistake him, not knowing Giancarlo done a lot more hard work than I ever done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say done more work, but I would say the work that he did was harder, and he's more skilled at working than I am, because him growing up with his father taught him how to do things with limited resources, whatever. Like he can chop wood. I'll be trying to chop wood and about to chop my leg off. You know what I'm saying? Or they be about to make wood or about to make coal or whatever. So they be digging and shoveling dirt and trying to make a pit and stuff. And Carlo is out there, you know what I'm saying, cutting himself, bruising himself, hurting himself. You know what I'm saying? Trying to teach him how to play basketball too. So Giancarlo was young. He was a young teenager. And so he was more connected to me. He kind of, respected me a lot because of the basketball thing. So I was teaching him basketball, but I also was learning from him. But I saw him a lot of times go without eating sometimes, or he would be trying to go fishing with his father and stuff like that sometimes. So I saw that. As far as it was a big family, but I saw them grow up, as what I'm trying to say. I saw them grow and venture out and do different things, and some of them stayed and still trying to grow up and stuff like that, playing and having fun. And even the young children, like the real young children or whatever, even though they played and stuff, they still did big responsible things like collect firewood or buko trees, or skin fish, or washing clothes by hand and stuff like that, cooking food and stuff. They had big responsibilities too, even though they played. They would go out into the sea and then play in the sea or wash in the sea whenever it was too hot or something like that with their friends or whatever. It was like that. I was saying all kinds of stuff like that. So I was learning how to live off the land in a simplistic way. And it was difficult at first, and a lot of things I did not know how to do that I wanted to get out there and learn how to do, that my ex-wife now, Jenny Rose Panna, she's good now. She got a new husband. She got 2 children, a newborn baby and another baby, a boy and a girl. But when I was with her, she didn't want me to go out and try to like learn how to do certain things, you know. And I was trying to be forceful about it, like, look, if we're gonna be a family, I got to do something and stuff like that. But she didn't want me to go out and do anything, like learn how to do the biggest, like go into the biggest field and help them get the rice or whatever. Like you had people that had the machine, and then you had people that just did it the natural way. Like you put a mosquito net up there or whatever, and then you would have it like sealed off, and then you would put the rice in there, you would flap it or whatever, and the rice would fall off into the net or whatever. And that was a way that they did it, and it took a lot. It was a hard work to do it that way, and I can see, hard work like that. But if you had more people, it wouldn't be so hard. But the field was so big, but there would be certain people that would ask for hiring, like, look, we don't have any rice, or a bunch of young men or whatever that's at college level. They were like, they don't have work or whatever, but they going to school, doing the agricultural part, like in the Pulos. When it comes to Ramblin University, they would do the agricultural part, and that was like in San Andres Pulos area, where you would learn farm work. But different parts you would learn in Ramblin University was different stuff. But I know that specifically because I played on the basketball team, Pulos in San Andres, Ramblin, San Andres, Pulos. Forgive me if I'm saying it backwards, but in Ramblin you go to San Andres, and San Andres is Pulos. That's the like province or whatever. And in there, I played basketball, and it was like agriculture. It says something on the jersey about agriculture, like farm work and stuff like that. So that was the farm area where you had all of the tomatoes and camote and all of the stuff that they grew on the land that people used for their businesses, that was in the main city area, like a Jugan and stuff like that. So, sorry about the background noise. So I was there playing basketball, so I knew some things or whatever. And I didn't go deep into the land because of the trust issues and stuff like that. You don't want to you don't want to bring a foreigner and let them see everything about you and stuff like that. But what happened was, I never told them at any time that, I never told them that at any time that America was my country, and gave them the rundown about the Native Indians and how our land got took and stuff like that. I just was kind of observing, because everybody's in our country now, like Filipinos, Chinese people. It was like, it gets a little nerve-wracking when a bunch of people is in your land and they don't know that it's your land that got took by a bunch of people that's trying to take your land too. So me not saying that thing, I guess, kind of like, I should have said something maybe, but then it was becoming a problem at that time, where people started looking at me funny by that time, because me and Jenny was having like back and forths, and we was having run-ins, and everybody didn't speak English that well. So I was trying to learn Tagalog from her, or whatever the case, and she was teaching me a little bit here and there, like flashcards and stuff like that. But I didn't know enough, and she wasn't there teaching me enough. She was kind of like wanting to, she was young, and it was crazy, man. But really, it was just, she was just there, so somebody there to watch me or whatever. They didn't want to leave me unattended, probably because something that they heard from somebody, don't leave this guy unattended. And so they did just that, when they should have just, which eventually what they did in the end was leave me unattended, meaning you don't need to give him a wife or a girlfriend, or force him into being with somebody that caused a lot of problems and issues and relationship issues and jealousy, and almost me getting killed by people and ex-boyfriends and stuff, people that know her and stuff like that, because you forcing her on me because you want to watch me. So you put my life in the threat by other people feeling some kind of way because you didn't expect me to do what I did. I loved her so much, and I lifted her up and made her look like royalty. She went from looking like a regular average Filipina with no clothes. Her feet be too big for the chanelas sometimes, actually all the time, except when we went to the SM mall, Mega Mall. We went in Manila, we went to the SM, and I got her some shoes that she could fit and pay less, and those was the wedding shoes, like the wear at the marriage or whatever. So we did it was crazy, man. And I bought her a lot of modest, beautiful dresses and made her look like royalty, and that was everyday clothes. And so people started looking at her like, and then ex-boyfriends coming back like, wanting her and craving her and stuff, and that's how it was, but now she went back to looking like a regular old person, so, but still, I loved her all the way. I love her family all the way. It wasn't that I just took her and ran away and did some crap like that. No, I stayed around her father. I understood the difficulties that her father was going through, and the debt and all that stuff. They call it credit, but it's really the debt that he was in, or the credit that he had or whatever, which is backwards. If you got a lot of credit, that means people, owe you a lot. But if you got a lot of debt, that means, you owe people. So anyway, they call it credit. And so when I was around him, like if he needed something, I always was there to help. If he needed a little money here, of course, because I was the guy with the money at the time, so I would help him with the money or whatever. Or If he needed help doing something, I was there to help. Even though I didn't really know what I was doing, I was learning and helping at the same time. You know, going fishing. He didn't want me going in the water swimming, so I just was in the boat, reeling in the net and making sure the fish don't jump out the boat and stuff like that. Learning how it's done. Like he was treating me like a son, you know, after a while, because he saw that I wasn't trying to take his daughter and run away. I was just living basic life, like the husband and wife. You know, you got your wife and you got the husband, and y'all just living y'all life. All the time we would go to her father's house. Like, even though we lived in the city part of Romblon, we lived in Tabindagat. You know, we lived in two places. First we lived in my apartment, then we moved from that apartment to a different apartment on Tabindagat that was like more sophisticated or whatever. It was nice, 6,000 pesos a month or whatever. It was nice, but still. And we would still every day or at the end of every week, we would make it our business to get food. Like, we would get hot fresh monai, a lot, like 2 big bags of hot fresh monai. We would go to the Safeway, because it's not Safeway in America, it's called Safeway. So when you see it in the Philippines, it's a Z, Safeway. So that's a joke. But it was before the Jollibee was built there in the Jugan. And so we would go to the Safeway, and then we would get ulam burgers or get all kinds of stuff or whatever, and then bring it all the way to Agpulos, because I had a habao. I got it from Ropali. I had got a fresh habao from Ropali, or a motorbike from Ropali Honda, and that was like a wedding gift or whatever. And I tried to pay for it full out, but Pa was like, his name is Amador Pan. He was like, no, don't pay for it full out like that. But he wasn't thinking or knowing what I was trying to do. But if he knew what I was trying to do, he would have let me pay for it full out. But what I was trying to do was buy it all out. Excuse me. I was trying to buy it all out and leave it to him, because I was already planning to go back to America and then come back, because I understand how immigration and all that stuff work. And so I was trying to go bop and then come back. And so he was like, no, just don't. Save some money for this or that. And I was like, he didn't think that I was being wise with it, but he was like, Dad, you should have just paid for it all out so that they wouldn't come and take the bike back. You know, it would have been his bike, because it turned out that his bike broke, his habao broke, and he needed a habao, so he would ride mine all the time. And I was like, see, the whole thing was to give it as a wedding gift so that you can keep it so that the whole family could use it when they need it, you know. And a house, I had got a house built, or asked Potter if he can build us a house so that we can be on the same land but on a separate house. So when the road got built, it wasn't no road at first, it was just all dirt or whatever. Then they was building the road and it was all cement and all that. So they built the road, put up the guardrails and all of this stuff. And then after that, Pa built the house at the front, right there by the road or whatever for us. And we didn't move in yet. We just bought the parts. We bought the plywood, we got the bamboo and all of this stuff, but we were just sitting on it. Then we eventually, Pa was like, you know, he started building it together. And it wasn't all the way done, but he built it enough to where we can live in it. Then the storm came and knocked our house down. We had to put it back together and stuff after the storm. It was crazy. But still, we've been through a lot. And our back and forths and our small little arguments wasn't enough to split up. What happened was we ran out of money. And there was no biggest, no more conning. And so eventually what you're going to do to eat, you're going to get away from your husband, find a different way. You know, whereas though if I would have had left and came back, we never would have divorced. If I would have left and came back, but she was so attached to me, she couldn't let go, and she was like not wanting me to leave. Even when she left me, she didn't want me to leave the house. She was angry, and then everybody else was angry too that I had left. I had just up and left. I had got some money from Armin. You know, Armin was like, he like had made some money off the buco, and I was like, look, man, I need to go to the computer shop. And so then text my family on Facebook or whatever. And they was like, all right. So they gave me, I said, also I want to go see Rabbi Bird and see about trying to switch my computer parts and get some money or whatever. But I never told them that I was trying to plan on leaving or whatever, because I didn't want to hurt the feelings of Janice and Jolena. Because Janice, when I first tried to leave, Janice was like right there on my back crying, like, where you going, Kuya? Don't leave, Kuya, don't leave. The little English that she was knowing, she was like right there, like not letting me get on the jeepney, and was like, where you going, Kuya? don't leave, Kuya, don't leave. And she just bust out crying, and it was hard for me to leave. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, she was like 6, 7, 8 years old. Because of me, they had things that they needed. Like, they had fresh chanellas and fresh clothes for school. They had money for lunch for school. I was there helping them learn English and teaching them alphabets and words and stuff like that, and teaching them math and stuff like that, and teaching them about the Bible and stuff, like the 10 Commandments. And I always would teach them every Sabbath day the 10 Commandments and stuff like that. You know, always was teaching them, as well as being there for them, helping them with this, that, and third, and crispy fried and food and all kinds of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't turn down a crispy fried night. You could not turn down a crispy fried night. John Carlo and Boy what? Crispy fry? What? We started making jokes about crispy fry. So we're like, what? Crispy fry? Get out of here. And you said Uhlenburger. What you know about Uhlenburger, boy? Like, it was all of that. So, you know, we had something to hold on to, especially basketball with John Carlo. Boy didn't. So, you see what I'm saying? It was like, it was family. I was there for about 3 years. But the school was supposed to be 3 years. But I ended up graduating from the school earlier. I got a rabbi card. I got my card or whatever saying that I'm a rabbi, you know. And I was like basically staying because my wife at the time didn't want me to leave, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll get my stuff mailed to me to the Philippines and I can stay here. So I'm thinking that the mailing system was going to be okay and legitimate and stuff like that, which it was, but it was something that some reason it didn't get to me. My stuff didn't get to me or whatever. Because I'm thinking that because Rabbi Bert will always order stuff and he will always get his stuff. He will order something online and always get it. So I'm thinking that I can do the same thing and it just comes straight to me. But I should have had it where it came to him or whatever the case. I didn't think that or whatever. Well, he was just like, just order it, just da-da-da-da, whatever, and it'll come. But it never got to me. My new card or whatever. My aunt was supposed to send it to me. My aunt whose house I'm at now, she was supposed to send my card to me in the mail so that it can get to me in the Philippines so that I can still have my SSI so that I can take care of what I need to take care of. But also at the same time, the reason why I was even having SSI or staying there with my SSI is because when I got my SSI, they was telling me that if you go to another country, just let us know you went in another country, and we'll basically update your case and whatever the case that you're in another country. It wasn't that you couldn't. I guess they try to change that for some reason because they feel some kind of way, but I think they try to change it for me, and it was like, well, you're not this, so you can't have SSI in another country. You can't do that. But I'm like, well, that's not, I got papers right here that said if you go to another country or the Philippines or something like that, just call this number and let them know that you're in the country. And that's what I said, that's what I did already. I did all of that extra at the U.S. Embassy and all this extra stuff. So, and all of that stuff, man, we did. I went to the U.S. Embassy to get the marriage legalization papers to be able to get married in the Philippines and all of that. But it just was a run-in with me not having any more money. That's the only reason me and Jenny Rose Panna got a divorce. Because from me not having money led to this thing and led to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then all of these small little things turned into a big, huge blow up. And then it fell out. You know, she started hating me and stuff. But it wasn't like if you go to the source of the reason why she ended up hating me and stuff was like, there's no reason for y'all to be arguing. It's just that I still wanted her to be with me even though I had nothing. And she didn't want to stay with me having nothing. And there was other people she can run to. And it's her land and her country. And all of that stuff come into play. You start looking at the person differently. And this and this and this and all of that. And plus you got differences. Like, you're from America, so you think a little different. You think different than I do. And the differences start to clash instead of, you know, mold into each other and become one another. But at the same time, she became me in a way. You know, her English started to become more Ebonic, like how you talk in the hood. Like we talk in the hood, like I'd be like, yeah, I'm saying, and all that. She start talking like that. Yeah, I'm saying. Like if you talk to them, that's how they talk in English. Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying. Like, what y'all from, Baltimore or something? So it's like, because they've been around me, listening to me speak English, even though I taught them proper English, I still spoke the way I spoke. So it was like rubbing off on them, you know. And so it was always nothing but love. You can't go to anybody in the Philippines that know me and say that I did anything wrong to anybody. But if you talk about me and Jenny, my ex-wife, or whatever the case, the only thing you're going to get is, well, from me, or the truth of the matter was he ran out of money, so he couldn't take care of his wife no more, so she left. all of the small stuff and the in-between stories, it could happen to anybody. But that's pretty much what happened, you know, because she didn't want me to leave. If I would have left and came back, everything would have been possibly okay or cool, you know. Because if I left, she still had the phone. She had the newest Galaxy Note, Galaxy, whatever it was. It wasn't no Galaxy Note at the time, but Galaxy had just came out. So she had the Galaxy, the new updated Galaxy or whatever, from China or something like that. We went to the shop, got it. Got it's Globe and I be forgetting the other one, Globe and Smart. Sorry about that. So we got Smart, only 250, and then even sometimes we got the one we got both Globe and Smart. You know what I'm saying? But at first she was gonna talk and text. You know what I'm saying? So we got the Smart, got the Globe, and so I could have left and then came back or whatever, and you know, been communicating with her, kept her load up or whatever, kept giving her the 250 unlead or whatever the case, and so she could always stay in communication with me, because the same thing I was doing for her was what I was doing for Maysheen and the others. Maysheen was always alone. That's why I did more for Maysheen than everybody else, because whenever it was time to eat or we had a lot of crispy fry and stuff like that, Maysheen was never really there to eat too. Like, she'd be always with Mama, and Mama is like, you know, all she eat was Quaker oats and stuff. So, you know, you gonna eat Quaker oats your whole life, or you gonna come get some, you know what I'm saying, like, what the world? So she was never, and then Jenny was always envious and stuff of Maysheen. So to this day, if I'm pretty sure she would probably slap me, even though she got a husband, she would come out of her box, find where I'm at, anywhere where I'm at, no matter where I'm at, she would try to find where I'm at and try to slap me if she see me with Maysheen just hanging out, because she know that Maysheen I gravitated towards a lot, because she was alone like that. And being, to me, in the Philippines, like, you didn't have like how it is in America. Like, you being alone was like alone, wasn't no lights or nothing, like you alone, and you just with Mama, and Mama can't move and stuff like that. She like 100 and something years old. She can't move or nothing like that. She can't really do too much. She can, but she still need help, you know what I'm saying, not on the land like that with limited resources. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some of her grandchildren would come and bring her Tina Pie, or they would bring her Quaker oats like Leo or Furman. You know what I'm saying? Armin would be there sometimes chilling with her. Sometimes they would come and visit her or whatever, give her company or whatever. But my house was right next to her, so I was always right there. But so if something would happen, I would be able to help her. But I didn't know how to speak Tagalog. She was always talking to me in Tagalog, like I knew what she was saying. I'm like, yes, man. Let's like, go over and just do whatever. I don't know what she said, do. She's like, no, this. I'm like, and I just still be fumbling, trying to do whatever it is she trying to tell me to do and not know what she's saying. And then she'll go to Jen like, how come he don't know what I'm saying? Like, she would always be like that. You need to teach him Tagalog and stuff like that. And so it was always that. But I was like, man, Mama funny, man. She's like, ain't gonna happen to Mama while I'm right here. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Shorty, no, it's not. So it's just like grandma. It's grandma right there. So, I mean, she was looking out for me. I was looking out for her when Jenny had ended up leaving or whatever. But because Jenny left, I was able to still be able to eat and all this and all that. The only problem that I would say about that was when things started hitting the fan, she didn't put things on the table. We didn't discuss matters, even if things could have got in an evil way. Like, we are holy people. We pray every day and all that to the Creator and all of that. But now we got to live dirty lives because our clean lives are being hijacked. So now we got to live dirty lives to survive. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't always living a holy life. So I understand. There's nothing that you can tell me that I haven't heard of that you possibly are going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be far-fetched like, oh, this. And like, I just put everything on the table. Don't surprise me. Put it on the table. Let me know what we working with. Let me know how things operate and what you might got to do. And I'm still going to be by your side because I'm your husband. But with that said, whatever it is that we got to do, I can still plan around it and make a way for us to be able to make ends meet so that we don't fall all the way out. You know what I'm saying? It's just that women don't be trusting men when it comes down to them having to go into the dirt to survive. Yeah, we not in the dirt right now. Everything cool, you talking all lovey-dovey. When it's time to go in the dirt to survive, you don't want to let your husband know that you got to go in the dirt and all this. Like, just be honest, be forward. If you love one another, you know that you got to learn how to communicate too. That, like, and then also, like a person was saying, offense and resentment or whatever. Like, when you take offense at things that people do, that's why y'all get to know people beforehand. When you take offense at the small things that people do, you need to let people know that the details about you and get to know them when you're in the courtship process or whatever, you know. And really, small things that people take offense of, you really shouldn't be taking offense of. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's something that's life-threatening. That's something that you should look over. That's like you have character issues within yourself. But anyway, excuse me, neither here nor there. Compatibility issues and stuff like that. What comes with resentment, and people start looking at you like you do things a little different than what they think you should do, and things like that. And people start resenting you or being offended at you and stuff like that, like because they're not living life the way you think they should live. And that's why we all need to understand each other's situation and put each other's feet in each other's shoes to understand, you know, if we should be offended in that somebody's situation or help them or not help them, whatever the case, what they got going on. So, excuse me. Yeah, so with that said, man, that's really what was going on. That's for Filipina Pea, you know. So a lot went on with the Philippine thing, with the Philippines, and it's all that really happened. So there's nothing that you can say about me that's bad. There's no way that you can feel about me. The only reason that you might hear something that negative about me is because Jenny is upset that I might be interested in another girl or something like that, or because I keep sending Machine money sometimes or whatever when she asks for money for her for like to pay for like something for school. Like I got her she got a laptop already, but I had got her a phone. I had got her a Globe or a Smart. I think I got her a Globe thing, so a Globe stick, so that she can get on the internet. I pay for a load sometimes. I got all of the stuff that jumped her to be able to go to school. Like paying for, I gave her money on her birthday so that she can get a new phone. She can get a new iPhone. And then she sent me a picture of her with the new iPhone. I think she got iPhone 7 or something like that, what she got. And then she got this, and then she got that. You know what I'm saying? Then she got a boyfriend, and she's telling me about her boyfriend. And then she was like, I'm still going to school. Then she would send me her modules, and like I'm still going to school. I'm looking at my modules, and listen, look at my grades. She's like my little sister, and it was like, she's my cousin when we was married. But she's like my little sister now because she was spent more time occupied with me or whatever the case. And after I came to America, we talked more, you know. And I helped out more, and I'm always there, and I'm always supportive of her, whatever she got going on. And she truly called me Kuya, even though she asked for money sometimes. And her mother be Auntie, I think it's Edith or Editha. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to pronounce it. Edith. And then, or it might got an A sometimes. That's what she put on Facebook. But her mother, I never met her mother. I only met Mama. So I haven't met everybody in the family. I just met the small people that I met at the small time that I was there. And when her mother was talking to me on Facebook, she was like liking me and stuff like that, seeing what was going on with me and stuff like that. And so she accepted me. And then her father showed himself to me. It was like, dang, this the guy. You know, like there's no strings attached with this guy. It's just genuine love. And he's just like, wow, it is like that. You know what I'm saying? So you start noticing that this is what it was like when I was there, and what Pa Amador was getting, like receiving the love that he was receiving. It's just that I was married to his daughter. So if I wasn't married to his daughter, I gave the option of, if you got a boyfriend, I can give you 50,000 pesos and y'all can start a vulcanizing shop, or he can start some kind of business or whatever to support you or whatever. You don't got to be with me. Like, don't be with me because you think I got money or this, that. Trying to cover every area. And she was like, no, it's not that. That's not the reason why I want to be with you. Instead of telling me that she just got to watch me and stuff, it was just like, she just wasn't saying anything, just going with the flow. But what ended up happening was she started really growing a care and love for me, because I really was someone to love. And when she started seeing that, it was like starting to get too late. And they was trying to pull her out, like, and she was like, I can't let go and stuff. You know, because you gave me to somebody that really loved me. And now here it is. You know what I'm saying? He can't take care of me no more because whatever reason. And I ended up leaving that way by him not being able to take care of me. You know, and it was dumb how it happened, but it was leading to me being angry a lot, because if I'm married and like, this is my wife, of course I'm gonna go crazy if you start doing stuff to me and my family, and I'm looking at it like that, just like any man would. This is my wife. If you start doing stuff to my wife and taking me from my family and stuff like that, or trying to take my family from me, I'm gonna go crazy. You never can put that kind of jealousy and anger out from a husband. You never can, especially when the person is genuine about marrying a woman. You know what I'm saying? When you're genuine and you're real, you're going to get angry for real and stuff like that. So you're going to see people going crazy and stuff like that, or snapping so hard or whatever, and they start losing their mind and stuff because you're messing with their lives. You didn't understand that this person really was, they looked at things sacredly and stuff. You didn't understand the person that you really was dealing with fully. You kept looking at like there got to be something wrong with the person, or they got to be up to something, instead of looking like maybe there's a balance here. Maybe it has good intentions, and he really has a pure heart about some things, and we just not wanting to see it. And that's what it was. So when I start snapping and going crazy about my wife and stuff, they started to see it. And people was like, no, man, it's not right. Trying to help them see that this guy's like not like that. You know, he's not like white people, or like he's not here to try to take over the Philippines or no crap like that. They wasn't understanding what I fully was there for, or what I was fully about, because they couldn't speak English that well. Or they could, but they wasn't speaking English that well, and I wasn't learning Tagalog fast enough to be able to communicate it well or whatever. So there was like a lot of taking advantage of, because a lot of looking at me the wrong way, because I ended up in a relationship with Jenny that started falling out and all that, and we wasn't seeing eye to eye. But if it would have been left alone, like in the beginning, where everybody was loving me, it could have stayed that way. It could have stayed that way. You know what I'm saying? I could have invited people to stay. You know what I'm saying? Students could have stayed. It was like 2 rooms upstairs. I was staying downstairs. People could have just stayed just cause. I ain't had to touch nobody or nothing. Like, it's no secrets. It's like whatever you thinking. It didn't have to be women either. It could have been men. You know what I'm saying? Like, the next door neighbor was, I forgot his name. Because I haven't talked to him in a minute. I need to talk to him. I'll be talking to him. I gotta go to his page. But he was in criminal justice, and he was next door. He always got this smile, calm, resolved smile on his face, and he'd be like, but you know he a killer for real. I'd be like, man, I like you for real, because you just be extra calm and be smiling at everything for real. But, you know, it's like you can tell instantly that he know how to assess people, and I like that about him, you know. And he lived next door, and he was there before I ended up with my wife at the time. He was just right next door. He was going to school, and I was next door too. I was always quiet, or I was playing music, and they was listening to free music like, oh, I never heard this song before. That's how John Legend started playing in the Philippines, because I started playing a lot of John Legend, started playing a lot of Music Soul Child, like Don't Change and Love and all that, and they on my laptop, and they like at the window like dancing and stuff. I never heard this music before. I'm like, oh, you don't know nothing about this, shorty. Like this you don't know nothing about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so it started making me want to like get more music so that they can hear more music in the Philippines. But it wasn't to be sold. It was just music that I had downloaded that I was listening to in my spare time, and they wanted it played on the radio in the Philippines. And they like, yo, you need to. So that's how they was like, oh, where the music at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hovering around the apartment wanting to listen to the music. So it was crazy. So and rapping, I listened to a lot of rap, played Cassie and all that stuff. So I rapped. They didn't hear me rap or nothing, but it was a lot of stuff that was going on. But they did see me play basketball. So at that time, my body was capable enough to move, and I still could move a little bit here and there. I was trying to hone my skills a little bit more, even though I wasn't at the top of my game. Still, I was still good enough to play on the team to them. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't the tallest person either. You know what I'm saying? They had somebody from FIBA, a referee from FIBA that was there when we was playing. So it was a big deal and all of that. We had the official FIBA ball, the Moton, M-O-T-O-N, FIBA ball or whatever, out there playing. You know, Perry was like the team captain. Because I beat him in the one-on-one, you know, he put me on the team. Because nobody really could beat Perry. Nobody could beat Perry except a few people, like his brother who was in Manila playing, or whatever the case. I think he was trying to play for FIBA or something like that. And then a few other people that came from wherever back to Rumblon to play on the team could beat him. But other people on the team couldn't beat him. But I beat him when I came, you know, real easy. You know, with the flip-flops on. I didn't have shoes on. I had flip-flops on like him to make it balanced and even. Like, y'all play with slippers on? All right, what's this? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I won, but still he put me on the team. It was like bop, 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 and it was that. You know, because I married Jenny, I didn't get paid or whatever. It was more so a benefit to the family in a way. But we ended up getting a piece of paper from the province that said Jenny Rose Panna Gibson and Dwight Gibson Jr. is a low-income family, because I ended up losing my card. So we ended up being a low-income family. So that started the struggle of the Philippines, and I started learning how to get through the struggle that everybody was getting through that had nothing in the Philippines and being on the bottom. And I didn't take it hard. I just was like not sure if I couldn't plan right, because it's not my country. So I couldn't plan right to be able to bring success to my family. Like if I was in America, I can plan because I'm from here or whatever. I can with my wife make a plan to turn our outcome back around or whatever, or get ourselves back on our feet or whatever. I can get back and do something or figure out a way. In the Philippines, I couldn't figure out a way, so I started losing myself. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't think right. I started snapping and stuff like that, and then I lost my wife and stuff. And that's pretty much what the issue was. But if I never had met her, or rather never been married to her or nothing like that, it would have been all fine. It would have been all fine, because you had Jenny, you had Machine, Machine was the youngest. She was 13, and she was always the loneliest one. Never included. Always they make her sit on the ground while they sitting on the chair and stuff. Like, no. If everybody's sitting on the chair, let her sit on the chair too. Don't sit on the ground where the longam is at. Not there. So the ants at. So you got Jenny, Machine. Let me do it in order. You had Lin, Jenny, Carmela. Oh no. Sorry. Lin, Tiffany, Jenny, Carmela, Machine. That's 5. Lin would never really come around. But she ended up being the one that gravitated towards me the most in the end. She would always come and visit me with her big sister, Finn, which we the same age. I'm 36, she 36. Finn came in the end and helped me get to the U.S. Embassy so that I can get back to America. And I owe her, basically. I would come back and this and that and the third. But now that I'm back here in America, it's difficult for me to come back to the Philippines, you know what I'm saying, and be there. She had just messaged me last night. I talk to them frequently, pretty much every day. If not every day, like every week or every 2 or 3 weeks, I talk to them. John Carlo, boy. His name is Man now. I know it's boy, but I call him Man. Because he was like really, he's a true brother to me. George Menorca, but his name George Panna really, but he's a true brother to me. Just watching how he was towards his sister and his siblings, how he cared and how he made sense. He knew how to think and everything. He the one made me realize I was stupid for believing in the way I thought the world was round. But he understood how I saw it at the same time. Like, he understood how America saw that the world was, they could believe that the world was a ball. At the same time, understanding that the world is not a ball. He didn't make me look stupid, but he understood. He's trying to understand why I think the way I think, or why Americans think the way they think. And he would be someone that you would want to come into America to assess things and bring it back to his family, because he's very clever, very wise, and his intentions are not here or there. They're in the middle. You know what I'm saying? He's not judging. He never judged me this way or that way until he saw something. He was very balanced with the way he think. And Giancarlo too. And saying everybody, like, if they saw something, they would feel some kind of way, like, it's in the car, I don't think that's cool and all that. If not, then they would just be like, you know, they would come on somebody else. They had a balance about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And Pa was a police officer. He was a former police officer. He had showed me the picture when he had the revolver and all of that. And he was training and stuff. I was like, oh, all right. Then he had the videoke. And then I always sung Unforgettable, shorty. That's the Unforgettable. I was always in there. And then they were singing Kai Hit Sunday Lee and all kinds of stuff. I was singing it too, for real. You had to duet and all that. It was all that. So if I came back to the Philippines and did some stuff like that, Jenny would come right out of pocket. No matter she got 2 children with a husband, if she saw me walking with some girl singing at a videoke, Kai Hit Sunday Lee, she's going to break out of her shell, run wherever I'm at, and try to beat me up and stab me up with the sword because I'm singing Kai Hit Sunday Lee with another babae. That is not, you know what I'm saying? She's going to go crazy, because in our marriage, there was nothing that she could point out that really we were supposed to divorce about. There was nothing to divorce about. It's just that we had no more money, we ran out of food, and she left. Simple. It was nothing like we argued and I hit her, or slapped her, choked her up, or did something crazy, would have died or something. It wasn't me. It was just that it just naturally fell out because of no money. That's it. Simple. So all of this extra stuff that people were feeling and thinking, for you, Filipina Pea, that's the information. Okay? So if you want more details on specifics, if somebody says something, I can, challenge that thing, or I can let you know what the details are, or let you know that, yeah, that was absolutely true or not, because I don't lie. I don't lie. I definitely don't lie. I practice to learn how not to lie, and I don't do anything in my life that I have to lie for. So people, I'm not out against people, trying to make people look at none of that. So, but that said, yeah. Dumaguete seems like a nice place. It looks just like a Jugan in some areas. So it looks familiar. It looks like back, to me, I call it home because I have a house there. Or I had a house there. I'm pretty sure that they got the plywood and stuff like that, and the metal strip and stuff, so they used it so when the Baguio and stuff came, they can fortify their homes and stuff like that. And that's something that I was going to tell Carmela, because Carmela stayed on the land no matter where everybody went. Machine left first. No, Tiffany left first. Darwin and them left first. Uncle Frankie, Tito Frankie and them left first. And then Machine left. And then Jenny left. Lynn already had left. They said she was known for taking people's boyfriends and stuff like that. I'm like, I'll be with Lynn anyway. The way this thing worked out, Lynn ended up coming to be with me and stuff. And anyway, in the end, so whatever. But how she, I just don't get it. How she taking people's boyfriends or whatever. Anyway, Lynn just needed some love. People just need to care about it, and I saw that. You should not, when you, I don't want to get real quick. When I first met Lynn, my ex-wife now, Jenny, before I married her, they was trying to be the one. I want to be the girl that's picked or whatever. But I was just trying to like help the land, help everybody on the land genuinely. I wasn't looking at none of them in that way. So Lynn was 18. She was taking her ALS to try to graduate and get her diploma, whatever the case. But she on the land, she always wear this yellow white hat. All like me, I always wear my Scully shorty. You got to keep the hat. I always wear my hat, but she always wore her hat too. And so Jenny and Pa Amador, they standing. Pa's on her left side, and Jenny's on her right side. And so I'm looking at Lynn, and then Jenny just snatched her thing off, like take her hat off, and she has no hair. She's naturally bald. And Jenny just busts out laughing, ha 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 ha, pa ha ha, you bald, like just going off. And then Lynn start crying. She started busting out crying. Pa was laughing, Jenny was laughing, like you trying to. So in that moment, I was angry. I didn't like Jenny at that moment. That's why I didn't want to be with her. I did not like her for what she did to Lynn by trying to embarrass her in front of somebody that you like. Oh, you look at like a foreigner or whatever. That was embarrassing. It was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And it made me gravitate towards Lynn more, but I never saw Lynn so much until after Jenny left. When Jenny left, Lynn came. And Finn, Lynn's big sister, would come to my house. Sometimes Finn will always try to get me out of the Baha'i. Like, come on out of the Baha'i and come into the Dagat. Like, stop bottling yourself up in there because she left, Jenny left and all that. Like, I don't want to live no more. I was all of that. And so Finn will always come up and Knox. She would call me Knox. Naka or Nakwa is my name, but they ended up calling me Naka. And then from Naka, Finn would call me Knox for short. But I guess that means wow in Tagalog, wow or whatever. But Knox, and then she would Naka, Knox, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like she would be real stern or whatever. Like, come on, get out the house. We going to the garden and chill and hang and stuff. And we would take pictures and stuff like that. She would let me use her phone sometimes, so I could use Facebook to contact family sometimes. Lynn always would come too. She would always visit and stuff like that. Even when if I was on the, oh my goodness, what you call it? The hammock. Crazy. Even though I think they called it something else, but I was on a hammock. Had a hammock under my house. And I would string it to the wood, and I would get on the hammock, and I would draw. And I made a comic book. That was I made my first comic book, and I tried to send it to America. It was a good comic book. Then I started on my second comic book. You know, I was trying to do stuff or whatever at the same time while I was there. But some of the paper I had to use for firewood to cook and stuff. But mine was like, no, just give me the thing, I'll cook or whatever, because we can get wood or whatever. I was like, okay, no problem. And let her do it. Sometimes they would bring me stuff. They would bring me like a kilo of rice, bring me some Ponce Canton or some Lucky Me, or they would come up, JR would come up from Calatrava and bring me some Easter sometimes, like a bunch of Easter. So I would bring in the pie house and Pa would chop that thing up and everybody eat together. You know what I'm saying? It was never just me by myself. We ate together on the land. And so it was like that every time. I miss it, you know what I'm saying? I wish that things didn't fall out the way it did. It could have happened differently. It didn't have to happen that way. Or else I probably would have stayed. I would have still been in the Philippines to this very day because they didn't let me leave. I had to go to the U.S. Embassy and force them to get me to leave. So I ended up leaving on a waiver. But because I was there so long and I kept spending my money on them, on the family, I never had money to go to catch the Montenegro or the two go back to Manila, get back to Manila and get to the immigration to pay for the immigration or whatever, because I kept spending my money so that we can live and eat and stuff like that and survive and stuff. I just kept spending my money on the family so that everybody had need. Like I would buy sacks of rice, like 4 or 5 sacks of rice, so that Mama could have one, Tito, Frankie could have one, Auntie Lolinda, Auntie Merlita. But Auntie Merlita was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just get some of the sack from Mama. And Pa Amador would have one, Kuya Jason. was Ate Badet, so that they could have one. So it was a bunch. It was a good number of us on the land. But then it started getting to the point where, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get certain sacks for people, and then we're gonna share whatever. So then Bino and Carmela, they ended up building something on the land. Carmela ended up pregnant by Bino, and they got married. So they shared a sack with Auntie Lolinda, and then it was just like trying to do my best or whatever, you know. And Elsa. And them, but Elsa and them lived further down on the land where you couldn't see, so it was like I couldn't get to them really like that. But I was trying so hard, yo. But because they didn't speak English that well, was the reason why they misunderstood me a lot. If they spoke English well and heard me talk a lot about what was going on or what me and Jenny was talking about, you thought I was fussing or whatever the case. We could have been talking about ketchup and tomatoes. Like, no, we won't get ketchup. No, we're gonna get mustard. No ketchup. Like, I don't want garlic. Just get Asin. Like, it could have been something stupid. Like, don't get biggest this time. Just get 2 kilo of biggest. Don't get 2 kilos. We did a lot of arguing over stuff like that. Like, don't give Pa money. Like, don't give him no more money. Just give him this much money. I said, no, we're gonna give him more money than that. No, just give him them. So we had a lot of arguments over don't give somebody some money. Don't give Pa money. Or don't get this much or don't get that much. So it was a lot of arguments over stupid stuff that wasn't really arguments. But because you don't know English and the rest of the family, like, what are you arguing about? Pa's like, what are you, Jenny? Like, stop it. What are you arguing about? You know, and she would, because she can speak Tagalog and English, whenever she would feel convicted, she can easily try to twist the story up and stuff, make it seem like something. Like what she did with Rabbi Bert, twisting the story up a lot. And then it was making him look some kind of way. Then he feeling some kind of way too, because he already skeptical about me. And at the same time, couldn't find nothing wrong. So it just kind of like, you know, he was on her side and stuff. I don't know, the way he thought things should be was not necessarily how things should be. You know, because I was a foreigner, I guess he felt like treating foreigners a certain kind of way was acceptable. When me being in America, everybody's here, even Filipinos. If I thought the way he thought, then nobody would be able to live in America. You know what I'm saying? But it's getting so crazy to where the people that's conquering everybody in America is like starting to be all one-sided and skeptical, and now people getting killed up. You know what I'm saying? They starting to do to everybody here that they was doing to us when they took our land. Christopher Columbus and them. You know what I'm saying? Which is shooting my mind, shooting Chinese people and beating up Chinese people and stuff like that. The way that Rabbi Bert think is the same way that white people think. And I noticed that, like, if the tables was different and China was the power, you know what I'm saying, they were the power, the economic power, or they were the power of the world, then it would be way worse, because it would be a fresh slavery. It would be a brand new slavery. And what would happen is the prejudice would be stronger, the racism would be stronger, and the mistreatment would be stronger because it's fresh. They don't know us on a mass level. But because white people enslaved us in the beginning and it was vigorous, but over the years and the years and the years, them being around us, it lightened up because they started to understand us and learn us. Even though there was still that racism and that prejudice, it became a lighter captivity. But if you go into another one, like China becomes a superpower, it's going to be a heavier racism or a heavier slavery. Just knowing that off Rabbi Bert, going to the smallest island, the poorest people, or rather the people with the least amount of resources or whatever of Asia, I would say. I'm not saying that's a fact, but you know what I'm saying? They isles. They're a bunch of small little isles. You know what I'm saying? As not having as much resources as China or nothing like that. So the way he was thinking towards foreigners sometimes, it was not right. It's towards racism. So if you had power over the whole nation, you would treat everybody in a funny way as soon as you felt funny about something. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily finding proof, like looking for fault and stuff in people and not necessarily letting people be themselves. He couldn't do it. The people was like that. Always on edge, thinking somebody it was crazy, yo. So even black people, they didn't understand the difference between Africans and black people. It's like some people don't understand the difference between Japanese people and Chinese people. They didn't understand the difference. Like, aren't you African? I said, I'm not African. I said, but you look like I said, no, there's a difference. I have to keep trying to explain that. Like, no, Africans talk like this. I said, and black people talk like this. And then they don't know the history of how black people, they don't understand. Like, but why they call you African American? And they was not believing me. Like, anybody can get an American passport. That don't mean because you got a U.S. passport that you're not an African and stuff. They was really not understanding. They was really beating me down about it. They really fully believed that I was just African. You know what I'm saying? And because a lot of Africans are free. They are free, rather. Africans are free and they can travel the world. Black people aren't really free. We don't travel the world. We just be in our place, or we might tour a place here and there and be a tourist and then come back. You're not really free. They don't want to let us go. They keep a leash on us, a mental leash. So they didn't understand completely about Africans and black people. So I was trying to break that down to them, trying to help them understand the difference in us. Like if you say African, they like this. They talk like this. They react like this because they're free. They more bulky than us. They more this, like their hands are more bulky, their feet are more bulky, they smell different. You know what I'm saying? They talk different in English. You know what I'm saying? Like speak English to an African. And they'll speak in English with a different accent than a black person from America. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to break down to them like, we're not really black. We're not really African American. To know the difference, we're Hebrews, we're Israelites, and they are Africans. And so to know the difference is how they talk and the different cultures and the language and this, that, and the third. We have nothing to do with them, and they was not understanding. But if you was black or you was born and raised in America, you would see the difference clearly. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in America know the difference clearly between black people and Africans. They can see it very clear. But because you're not from America, and I was in the Philippines, they couldn't see. They were still struggling. She thinking that she married an African and thinking I can just go back to Africa where I'm from, like, instead of go back to America. And I'm like, no, I never told her that I was a native Indian. And that the land that they call America is our land, but it wasn't called America always. It was called Azareth. And they came and conquered it and took it. I'm mixed bred with black or Hebrew and, you know what I'm saying? I'm mixed bred with Indian and black or whatever, for lack of better terms. So I had to break all of this stuff down. So it was a lot that was going on that I was a humble person to learn. So I was learning. It's just that I was skeptical because she kept arguing with me about petty stuff. So I'm thinking that it's something in the way. She young, so she having different kinds of feelings and emotions. She's not mature for real. She's not really mature for real like that. So and she haven't really seen. She haven't even been around her own country like that yet. You know. So I'm like, dang, I wanted to go to certain places like Marikina and stuff like that and like start a shoe business so that we can have a shoe business and she can run the business so that when I leave, she have something for herself. I understood the 40-60 thing. I wanted to do things so that I can leave it with her so that if I come back, she good. She can take care of herself. That's always what I did it for. My intentions were always pure. I understood by them telling me the rules of things, and I worked around it for the better of the family and the people around me. That's what I did it for. So I wasn't trying to do anything to take something or conquer something or own something. It was like, you know, trying to help people. So it was all that. But we ended up having a tender hunt, and I tried to leave the tender hunt with her, but because of the credit issue, everybody always asking for credit, we ended up eating our own store for real. And we couldn't make profit. But that happened because of the area we was in. And I understood that was going to happen, but it was still nice to have a store or whatever, be able to give the children the snacks and stuff, the chichiri and stuff like that. It was just felt good to give them snacks and stuff. It felt good. But, you know, it was something I was trying to do to try to support ourselves when I ended up running out of money, start a business. But because I'm not from there, I couldn't really take all of my knowledge and skills and education and flourish. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't flourish because I'm not from there. They don't really give people jobs in the Philippines either. We don't really give you a job if you're from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? You have to go to like a big country like China or Japan or something like that. Somewhere big where they really need help or something and hands and stuff. Then you can probably get a job or something like that. But in the Philippines, no. Some people got jobs, like some foreigners got jobs, and they felt like Rabbi Bert was like, I'm like, look out for me. His sister like owned a school or something like that in like the Calatrava area. And I wanted to teach English or tutor English. And he was like, no, because you need a degree and this and this and this and this. I'm like, man, I've been to college. I didn't get my degree yet, but I can still teach. You know what I'm saying? If you need somebody and this, that, and I know the ins and outs. So I ended up teaching English to, on Sabbath day sometimes I would teach English lessons. Or after Sabbath class, I would teach English to the students or whatever, the younger students or whatever. And they saw that I really can teach English, even though my accent and the way I spoke was like this, because you only really pretty much see Peace Corps or white people, and they speak differently. You know what I'm saying? That English is more proper or whatever. But because in America people have different accents, don't mean they don't know the basics or whatever of English. Because in order to even go into society to get work and get a job, you gotta pass English. You gotta know English. You might can forget the ins and outs, but you have to know English. You have to know how to communicate and speak English. You know what I'm saying? So it was just not working out or whatever. Because at first, when I first came there, not first came there, but when I met Brother Arat. He was in charge of something. He could, like a certain college or something in Jugan. Think he was something. I forget exactly. There was so much stuff happened, but we ended up going to one of the colleges or whatever and played basketball. And he was talking about how he worked here, something like that, and he can pull strings or something like that. So I gave him my resume. And my resume was showing like what I'm qualified to do. I had my TEFL certificates of grammar. I had my TEFL course certificates, like to show that I have my TEFL, my teach English as a foreign language. My certification to teach English as a foreign language. I have that. And he was like, okay, whatever. But I still couldn't get work or whatever. So that was before I even met Jenny. And then I ended up meeting Jenny or whatever, my ex-wife now today. So I was trying to do something, you know what I'm saying? Well, and within the realm of what I knew how to do. If I knew how to do a lot, then I would have a lot of options. It's just that I wasn't that guy that knew a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And I need to end this video soon because it's like a whole hour, but it's for Filipina Pea so she can get the information, yo. But anyway, yo, it's too much happened in 3 years, yo. Like 2.5 years, 3 years, too much happened. Too much happened, yo. A lot happened. You know what I'm saying? They might say that they are indebted to me or whatever the case, but they not. They not, because that was my wife. They was trying to calculate, oh, you spent 200,000 pesos, we're going to pay you back. I said, no. Why would you feel like you got to pay me back if you was my wife and we were married? And so it was like you went in with the wrong intentions. You went in with some kind of intention and you felt like you owe the person back. The whole way you feeling like you're going to have to owe the person. Instead of like, this was your husband, it's his obligation, his loving obligation to take care of you. So why are you counting money for real? You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy, yo. It's crazy. I tried to, it was so much, yo. I tried to bring Boy Man to one of the, I forgot the name of the food spot where we ate all of that food. Jenny was mad. She was too mad. She was too mad. I took her to school. And then I had got Boy and took him to the food spot, and I said this is what I was gonna do for the wedding feast. After the wedding, we was gonna go to the thing, eat different kinds of food, like different kinds of pizza and food and chicken and stuff like that. And this was gonna be for everybody on the land. Like it wasn't that many people, but we was gonna rent out the space and have it just for us for that day or for that moment and eat or whatever the case for the wedding thing. And then we was gonna bop and wait for the municipal to pull. To come to us, because they was like, the municipal was like, oh no, you got a schedule and we not ready yet or whatever the case. We was waiting on municipal the whole time, but really they was not trying to marry us. So probably feeling some kind of way, like, no, we're not gonna let you get married. But instead of tell me that, they just was like playing games or whatever, thinking that I was or something. I don't know, but the municipal was holding me back from getting married. That was the last thing we needed to do, was go to the municipal in San Andres. And so anyway, I took Boy there, and he ate all this pizza, and we ate all this pizza, and you're like, what the? He just couldn't, he never seen, he about to cry. He was crying and crying, like, what? Because that was our brother, the one that I knew, that he was the one that you would go to, the one that was like the eldest brother to me. Armin came later. I didn't know who Armin was. He was somewhere, and then he came back. But Boy was more the brother to me, because we talked and we reasoned, and he knew me already. You know what I'm saying? And Armin came in like, who's this guy? And I'm like, dang, I gotta, you know what I'm saying, like, prove myself to this guy. But it was like, it wasn't an issue or problem. It was just that I was already used to Boy, George. And he already knew, my heart already. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really about the money. It was just my heart. And he understood. And so, yeah, man, he was crazy. Like, what? And then Machine, I took her to the same spot in a jug, and it was somebody from Australia, their spot or whatever, but it was like a restaurant. They got it on Facebook and stuff like that too, but I forgot the name of it, or I would look it up. But it's in a jug, and Machine on her birthday. She was like, it's my birthday. And nobody ever pay attention to Mish. They never ever care about her. They never do. Like, I have to say something for them to start caring or feel some kind of way. Or I would be going back and forth with Jenny, like, just wash her. Like, what is they arguing about? We arguing about her giving some of the shampoo, the light shampoo, saving some, or me getting a whole bunch of it so everybody on the land can wash their hair to get the lice out their hair. Man, she ain't got the most lice in her hair, and y'all want to use all the lice for yourself. So if that's the case, it could be one pack for everybody, or whatever the case, we can do it. Like one pack for Jolena, Janice, you, whatever the case, whoever, mine. Whoever else, Carmelo is on the land that got lice in that hair or whatever. And so she was like, no, just get 2 or 3 packs and we can split it. I'm like, but why? Because then what about Machine? And then Machine, she ain't got to get nothing. Or she was going crazy. Like, I'm like, all right, well, then it turned into this, like, all right, let's just do this so that Machine can get some too. Why you always right about Machine? Because she always alone. Why y'all just always would leave her in the corner somewhere with Mama in the dark? And don't y'all always together smiling and laughing and joking, but she always in a cut somewhere alone. That's disrespectful. So then it came out, I ended up getting a lot of stuff or whatever. When she had her own shampoo, she had Downy, the big jar with the super smell good. We had a big jug of stuff, and Mom would come like, can I borrow some fabric? Like, Mom, you don't gotta borrow nothing. It's like yours here. She was like, why are you asking? Like, that's how I was looking, like, why is she even asking? Just come and get it. Like, it's not like a thing of like you need to be asking. But Mom was always like, can I get some Downy, or can I get some of this, or can I and she was like, it was just crazy, man. Always, like, she was always fussy about certain things. I guess because she wanted to live her own life and do her own thing and get away from the family. So I understood that, but it was a lot that we argued about that people didn't understand we was arguing about, or whatever the case. Like, and they was like thinking it was me or whatever, but it really was like small, stupid, petty stuff, like trying to school her, like, stop being like that. You know what I'm saying? Just wash Machine hair. I'm like, no, what, if you don't want to wash her hair, I'll wash her hair. And then she'll grab me up like, no, give me that, I'll wash her hair. And then looking at me all crazy. So she'll go out there and wash Machine hair, but it looked like she care about her. But really, it's not that she care about Machine. She just don't want me to wash Machine hair because she got the most lice, and she don't want me to touch her or whatever. She's looking at things the wrong way, or taking things the wrong way or whatever. And so she ended up washing her hair because I said I was going to do it, and I was really serious about that thing, because they shouldn't be walking around scratching their hair with the lice comb, plucking lice out their hair when somebody there could make a way for them to get the lice out their hair. So Machine ended up using some, and then the lice started coming out of her hair because you making too many jokes. Machine got the most lice in her hair, and y'all laughing and joking. I'm like, it's not funny. So you laughing so hard and joking so hard. You know what? Let's go get some lice shampoo. Go all the way to Jugan. Go to the pharmacy. Go in there, get some light shampoo at the pharmacy spot. Go get some Snickers and some Hershey's and stuff, whatever else too. Then leave, go back, drive all the way back, and then so that Machine, whatever. Then Machine got sick. She had some stuff on her arm, some black stuff on her arm. And Rabbi Bert, we went out there, and he was like, "Come on, you need to go with me." I'm like, "What's going on?" "Just go with me to Pulos." So I hop on a bike with him. We go to Pulos, and we ride all the way out there. And again, Machine's by herself. Ain't nobody else on the land at that time. They was somewhere. Not even Jenny was on the land, because I wasn't with Jenny at that time. So I'm like, where everybody at? Or whatever. There's just Machine here with Mama. And she had something on her or whatever that was like a sickness. And so Rabbi Bert was like, he didn't want to touch her. Nobody wanted to touch her. I touched her and looked at it like, okay, let me see. Because Rabbi Bert looking like I'm going to get contagious. He's like, you're going to get it. I'm like, man, it's not. So I grab her, rub the stuff to feel what the texture was. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's something in the water, he said, or whatever the case. So he was like, okay, I'm going to get some Epsom salt. You take the Epsom salt, whatever. She ended up getting healed from it, or whatever the case. So that was the first time and only time I ever touched Machine was when she had the sickness on her arms, or whatever the case. Every other time, I just start gravitating towards it because everybody was so cut offish. And then also Lynn, pulling her hat off her head. Now is she bald and crap? And you trying to display that like that's something to do? Like, I was so disrespectful. Like, it's like, what the heck is going on here? So anyway, that happened. So I did a lot for Machine. Bought her shoes. Like, on her birthday, took an American exchange. And I'm like, just get whatever you want. I wanted her to feel that thing. I wanted her to feel that thing for the first time, or just feel it. For somebody to just be like, get whatever you want. Don't want no sex. Don't want no favors. Nothing like that. Just, you have a kuya here for real. That's like, get whatever. those, would you like those right there? She was like, yeah, I like these, but I like these too. I'm like, then get both of them then. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she just I'm just giving the uppercuts, like, get both of them then, or just get those, like, just hitting her with a whole bunch of knockout blows, and she can't handle it. But it was something that I did. All right, and after you got that, we went to the eat spot, and everybody, it was me, Machine, and Jenny. I think there might have been Boy too. I was trying to get everybody, really, but everybody really wasn't respecting her birthday and all that stuff like that too, for everybody to come together. So did that. She ate, came back, went back to Mama's spot, showed Mama she had some shoes and stuff like that, and she wore them things out. Them things was fresh though. They always wore flats. I love flats. I love when women wear flats. I hate heels. But so all the flats, I'm like, well, those some fresh flats, shorty. Them things, they hard. And she copped them or whatever. I'm like, they hard, shorty. Then she started wearing them. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Hyping her up. And then I was always just talking about, like, stay in school and this and this and this. So now here it is. To this day, she got a boyfriend that I'm pretty sure she's going to marry one day. And then she's still in school with her modules, and she's probably going to go to college. Her English got way better. So it's like she in a better place, a better space. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she's struggling, but still. So all of this was going on in the Philippines, man, that you people don't understand that was going on. And my heart that was going on for people to be wanting to pull me out about what was going on between me and my ex-wife, not understanding how my ex-wife was before we even got married, or how her character was and all of that stuff. People wasn't understanding. Pretty sure she grew up now. You know what I'm saying? She's more mature now. You know what I'm saying? But it's been a lot of years. From 2014 to 2021, it's a lot of years. So I'm pretty sure she grew up. She got 2 children now. A lot happened. But still, if I went back to visit, she'd go crazy if she heard that I was hanging out with Machine. She already know me. I'm not gonna touch Machine. It's just the simple fact that I'm hanging out with Machine, and she's gonna go crazy. She's gonna take it the distance or whatever. It's crazy. Like, she got a boyfriend. I'm with her and her boyfriend. We hanging out, chilling and talking. I don't care if you hanging out. She's gonna go crazy. She's gonna go crazy. Try to stab me up with some crap. For real. She gonna say she don't care and be all strong. I don't care about what he do, but really she gonna try to kill me for real. Because how she feel, her feelings. Especially Carmela and Lynn. Oh my goodness. Carmela's almost about to kill Lynn one time. It's just crazy. Like, we all crazy. Like, Carmela, you got a whole husband and a whole daughter, or you got children, and you got Benoy, a husband. What you jealous of Lynn for? Lynn, the first time Lynn took her hat off in front of me on her own to go swimming in the got, to kind of like show that she's not afraid, you know what I'm saying, to show her true self or whatever. And I was not caring. I still was liking Lynn. I love Lynn, you know what I'm saying, because she was being brave and she was really there for me and stuff like that, but wasn't too close, but wasn't too distant at the same time. She was really like real family, like a cousin or something. So it was genuine. It was real genuine or whatever. So it's a lot, yo. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot, yo. And if any other questions you got, Filipina P, you can ask Finn. Just look for a woman named Finn. We the same age, 36, I'm 30. She 36, I'm 36. You can ask Finn. Finn was there. She can lead you and guide you into any direction or whatever the case, because she know how to do what she need to do. So, or whatever the case. So that's just information for you, so that you can understand, because I know that some of your videos be referring to me, and some of them just be good information videos, but some of them was referring to me, so I had to nip that in the bud, and that's why I had to be this long. So with that said, shalom, shalom. Hope that was enough. If not, let me know and I'll edify something. All right.